Welcome back to Story After Midnight, where the darkness never sleeps. I'm your storyteller, guiding you through the world's most terrifying and mysterious true encounters. From haunted homes to ghostly sightings to strange and unexplained phenomena, I bring you the spine-chilling stories that will make you question what you thought you knew. In tonight's episode, we dive deep into the eerie and unsettling world of real-life ghost encounters. These are stories from those who have unknowingly brushed up against the supernatural and lived to tell the tale. So find a quiet spot, dim the lights, and make sure you're alone, because the shadows might be closer than you think. Who knows what's lurking, watching, and waiting to make its presence known? Now let's step into the unknown. The darkness awaits us.
The fog calls them back. A true story from the moors. I've always lived in Yorkshire, born and raised on the edge of the moors. Some people think it's a lonely kind of life, surrounded by wind-whipped heather, rain-stained stone, and skies that always look on the verge of remembering something terrible. But for me, it's always been home, until the fog came. It's not like fog is unusual on the moors. If anything, it's as common as the crows. But this fog, this was different. And I don't mean in the poetic, eerie sort of way people talk about Yorkshire weather in ghost stories. I mean wrong. I first noticed it one morning last October. It was early, just after 6, and I was walking my dog, Tilly, a Springer Spaniel who usually pulled at her leash with boundless energy. That day, she froze the moment we stepped out the front gate. The fog was thick, like milk, if milk had weight and sound. Because this fog, it hummed, not loud, not music, not exactly, but there was a kind of low vibration in it, like something alive, breathing just beneath hearing. Tilly whimpered. She wouldn't budge. I knelt to calm her, and that's when I heard the first voice. "Help me." It was distant, or muffled, like it was coming through water. I turned quickly, expecting someone to be behind the dry stone wall along the lane. But there was no one, just the fog. Then again, "Please, help." It was a woman's voice, young, strained. I shouted back instinctively, "Are you all right? Hello?" But the moor swallowed my words. The voice didn't come again. I told myself I was tired. Maybe it was the wind. But that night, I couldn't sleep. The next morning, the fog was still there. It hadn't lifted at all, not even by noon. That's not normal. Usually by mid-morning, the moors clear a little, even on the worst days. But this stuff clung like cobwebs soaked in ice water, and the voices came again, louder, more frequent. Some were crying, some were begging, some were whispering my name. By the third day, I stopped going outside. I kept the windows closed, but I could still hear them. Faint, but unmistakable. It wasn't just the same voice anymore. There were many. I started to recognize them. That was the worst part. One of them sounded like Mr. Hawthorne, an old farmer who died when I was a child. I used to help him feed the chickens for a few quid a week. I remembered his voice, slow, gravelly, and I swear on everything I have, I heard it clear as day. "Little Ella, open the door now, lass." I was frozen. I hadn't heard anyone call me Little Ella in 20 years. That night, I dreamed of the moors. But they weren't empty. There were figures in the fog, standing still, their mouths open, eyes empty. They reached toward me, and every time they touched me, I felt colder. Not the kind of cold that can be fixed with a blanket. A bone-deep cold, the kind that rots. I tried to tell people. The postman, the lady at the shop, my cousin, who lives in Leeds. They all said I was overworked, that I needed rest. "Stress does funny things," they said. But none of them live here. None of them could hear the dead begging for help in voices they shouldn't have anymore. The breaking point came on the 7th day. The fog had thickened. I could barely see the wall 5 feet outside my cottage. Tilly was hiding beneath the table, growling softly at the window. That's when I heard a knock. 3 soft taps. I didn't move. Another knock. Then a voice, right at the glass. "Ella, please, let me in. It's Mum. My mother has been dead for 11 years. I couldn't help myself. I ran to the door. I even put my hand on the knob, but I stopped. Something told me, some small, sane voice inside, that if I opened the door, I wouldn't be letting anything in. I'd be letting myself out. And I wouldn't come back. After that, I barricaded the doors. I nailed blankets to the windows. I burned sage, lit candles, prayed to a god I hadn't thought about since childhood. But the fog never left. Not completely. It comes back. Every year now, like a season in its own right. Early October to mid-November. Thick, humming, whispering, calling. The others pretend it doesn't happen. They say I'm imagining things, though more than one neighbor has moved away. Quietly, without explanation. I stay. I don't know why. Maybe I'm waiting. Maybe I already belong to it. And sometimes, only sometimes, I answer when they call my name, just to see what they'll say next. Still here? Good. But if you ever find yourself walking the moors when the fog rolls in thick and humming and wet, and if you hear someone call your name from beyond the stone wall, don't answer. And never, ever open the door.
Thank you for joining me tonight on this eerie journey into the unknown. If these stories have left you with a chill down your spine, don't forget to like and subscribe for more spine-tingling tales. This really means a lot to me and helps to keep me on YouTube. And remember, there's always more lurking just around the corner. If you've ever experienced something strange, something unexplainable, feel free to share your own story in the comments below. You never know who else might be listening or watching. Until next time, keep your lights low, your doors locked, and your curiosity never at ease. Because at Story After Midnight, the darkness never rests, and neither do we.